Hey there, in today's video I am giving you some things, some ideas to get you thinking about the things that inspire you. What inspires you, not just in making art or being creative, but in your life? What are the things that you enjoy? What are the colors that you like? What are the things that you like looking at and using and seeing? And I'm really talking about not your art supplies necessarily, although that would be fine. But today I'm talking about the things outside of our art supplies, and even outside of just looking at art. What inspires us? What fills us up? What brings us joy? What are the things that are in your life that, and I'm not really talking about people either, although people can be inspiring. I'm really talking about objects and things and your environment, the things you use, all of that. So, and I'm not talking even today about music or lighting a candle or reading a book or any of those kind of things. I'm just talking about what are the things that light you up, bring you joy, make you want to use, that you reach for. And it could be, and I'm going to show you some things in my life that do that for me, that bring me some joy. And I'm telling you right now, this is kind of like a mood board, I guess, but not a mood board, but it's the old fashioned mood board, I guess. And you can still do one of those. You could put stuff up and put photos of it. But what I did is I set myself kind of a timer. Okay, 10 minutes, run around the house and pull some things together that bring me joy, that I like looking at, that I've collected, random things. Then I said, okay, and I took some photos of some things, a few I've gathered together and just shown you and talked about. But then I also just said, I'm going to go outside, and what are the things outside in my environment that also bring me joy? And I set a timer. So all of us live in different locations. We live in different climates. We are surrounded by different things and different experiences. And that is what makes us unique. And that is what makes each of us also have a unique perspective and a unique visually things that we're drawn to. And I'm no expert on any of this. I just kind of know what I like. And having the freedom to like what I like is huge, right? So I don't have to like what somebody else likes. And my husband loves bright colors. Yeah, I'm just saying we're opposite in that respect. I like dull colors and he likes bright colors. And there is freedom in being able to like what you like. And obviously at my age, I should be able to like what I like. But I think sometimes we're so influenced by what is current or what is out there or what other people are doing or what other people are liking that we forget that it's okay to be who we are and to like what we like and to enjoy what we like and to be inspired by the things that we like. So I hope in this video that it is a catalyst for you to think about the things that are in your life currently. And I'm not talking about going and buying anything. I'm a big proponent of what is right around me. But I just want it to be a catalyst for you to think about the things that you have right in front of you that you enjoy, that you reach for, that just is a big part of your life and who you are. When I walked around my house, I just picked random things that I felt like were super inspiring to me. And as you can see, it ends up being a lot of I guess I would call it a muted palette. There's some green, there's a lot of brown, there's rusty, there's old and more rusty. There's texture, which is in this twine. There's words and a little bit of nature here, some dried leaves and some dried flowering buds. And then this is just when we put up our Christmas tree. I love the green and the scent of the bough, the limb, the tree that we cut off. So I guess what I want to say is are the things that I love. I just quickly went around and grabbed them. I forgot to mention the vintage book paper and also the texture of a velvet ribbon. So, but the colors that you choose, the textures that you choose, the things that when you look around your house, what am I drawn to? What inspires me? And that's really what you should surround yourself with. Now, I'm not saying that everything in my house is like super inspiring. But if I were to run around and, I give myself about 10 minutes to go pick some things to show you guys. And this is kind of what I came up with. And honestly, it feels, if people who know me well would say, yeah, this reflects really who I am. This reflects kind of the things that I like, the colors I like, the textures, and different patinas that I like. But within that, when I also allowed myself to go outside, and I thought, I'm just going to choose a few things that really resonate with me, not just outside, but also inside. And I'm going to kind of show you a few pictures of those things, just real brief, and just to kind of get your creative energy and thoughts going, that the things that you surround yourself with, what is it that is inspiring to you, and what is it that brings you alive? Okay, I've shown you just that quick bowl of things that I like, right? That I gathered very quickly. And now I'm going to kind of talk and show you some images of things that also inspire me. Some of which I've gone outside my house, some of which I have found inside my house. And so I just kind of want to show you what I'm talking about versus just, pulling a bowl of things that have been curated. So for example, I have my trusty cup of coffee. Now you may think, that is very inspiring. It's not even a very cute mug. It is just, I wanted to start with that because this is kind of how I start my day, and it is very inspiring to me. Now you might go, oh, that's so cliche, Seattle, coffee, blah, blah, blah. But I do have a special coffee maker and espresso maker, and I love making my individual cups. And it is inspiring to me in that it's a source of joy. So, anything can be joyful, right? So anyway, so here's my coffee. Cheers. Okay, so next up is I am really drawn to anything that is mossy bricks, mossy wood, moss, in the cracks of our little patio out front. I'm guessing a lot of that comes from growing up in a rainforest, kind of, not the Florida rainforest, but the Oregon coast. I grew up in the mountain range, and we got like 12 feet of rain a year. And so it rained a lot, and there was a lot of moss. And so I go back to that because I think, why do I love mossy things so much? But anyway, not that we're diving deep into the reasons behind all these things. There's one for you. There's a freebie. The other thing I really like is rusty things. So, are you seeing a trend here? Like things that are not new. They're not shiny. I like rusty old things. They just bring me so much joy, and I cannot tell you why. I like the color, the patina, the oldness of them. If I could have all rusty things, but unfortunately, a lot of times rusty things, they break apart and all that. The other thing I really like is I am going to talk about that in a minute, but I like nature. I like being outside. Now, granted, I live in an environment where it's fairly mild. Seattle's a fairly mild climate. I can be outside year round. Now it does rain a lot here. And in fact, behind me, you can see this blue sky. Well, I can't even tell you how much it rained last night, like insane amount of rain. So the fact that I woke up, or that today, that it is kind of blue out there, that's shocking. So we do get a lot of rain, but we do have a lot of nice days too. So it's a kind of, you don't always, we have a bad reputation, but it is also beautiful. But what I'm trying to say is the mild climate allows for a lot of freedom in going outside and being outside. And I feel like that is very nurturing. And there's been a lot of different books and things written on it lately about what it means, not just physically being outside is good for your mental health. And obviously if you're walking or whatever, that's good for your physical health. But we are in a climate that we can do that there's really not a lot of excuses. We don't have a lot of severe or extreme weather. We don't have extreme heat in the summer. We do not have extreme cold in the winter. So in some ways that allows us the freedom to be outside a lot. And so things like right now, the leaves, we still have some leaves on our trees, and it takes a while for them to all fall and are beautiful. And even I have a shrub out front that is blooming, and maybe it blooms at this time of year, but it's just a shrub. It's not a flowering shrub. So it obviously is doing its thing, but And then it also allows for a lot of just being out on a trail. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have the luxury of living literally steps away. We live on what is a preserved green belt, which is what you see out my window here. And so which means that the city has set it aside for just to remain wild. There are some trails through it, and it is a luxury and an unbelievable privilege to live right next to it and be steps away from literally the woods. And I cannot tell you how much joy that brings me. And I will say there was a lot of years that I did not use it, and I did not realize the luxury that it was to live in the city. I can see the city from the north side of my house, but yet be near a wooded area. So it is truly a blessing to live in this spot here. So anyway, so those are things. Being outside is something that really inspires me. And speaking of that, I think I'm showing you, this is looking east. I also have a view looking west out into our front yard. When I'm sitting at my computer, maybe I'm working on other things. This isn't like my full-time job here, but when I'm just editing a video, I glance out the window and it's beautiful out there and it's green. I mean, that's the beauty of living in Seattle with a lot of rain. Things stay green for the most part, and it's just lovely. And of course, there's moss out there, which is a favorite. And then looking to the north from the other part of our house, not this particular space, then we have a view, of the city and of the water, kind of. I mean, it's at a distance, but it's there, and at night the city lights are on, and it's lovely. So I think visually being able to look outside and see beauty is also very inspiring for me, because I can be inside looking outside. And so I'm not saying all of us, I mean, you could live in an apartment and look out onto another building, and maybe you think that's not inspiring, but yet if you had a flowering plant at your window against that gray building, it would be lovely. So I think it's thinking outside of the box and making what brings you joy, and creating that in a small way. And like I said, I'm not talking about going out and redecorating or refurnishing or moving to a new location. I'm just saying you take what you have and make what you have bring you joy. So, and inspire you in all aspects of your life. The other thing I like to do is I like to bring nature inside. Now, okay, for most of you, you'll think, oh yeah, of course, go out and cut your flowers and blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, I do have some flowers I can cut, but not obviously right now at this time of year. But what I really like doing, okay, do not laugh at me. I like bringing in like sticks and old, as my husband calls them, dingleberries. They're not dingleberries. I like to cut, we have all these wild blackberries that are invasive, but for Thanksgiving on my table, I like to take, I wish I had a picture of it, but I like to take the dried blackberries and put them along as a table decor. I know, it sounds crazy. That brings me great joy. I love the old dead plants out in our green belt that are just going to fall, or maybe they've already fallen, and I just pick them up and bring them in and I put them in a vase. I love that. So I am not talking about, I could probably find a whole stash of sticks and put in a vase, and I would love that. So I'm not talking about like going to a florist and buying some flowers, although that is lovely. I love flowers, don't get me wrong. But using what you have and seeing beyond what other people see brings me great joy. So nobody else is going to go out and pick or cut dead blackberries. But if that brings you joy, then I would highly recommend doing it. And maybe there's something in your climate, in your location where you live that you've overlooked and you've gone, oh, I love that. I never thought of that. So anyway, that's one more. The other thing that I like is I like decorating with old things. Preferably the older the better. Now, I am not talking about vintage things that cost a lot of money. Zero. I have zero interest in that because one, I don't want to be responsible for an expensive item getting damaged or broken or any of that. No, zero. I have zero interest in that. What I do like is old suitcases stacked as a side table. Okay. Yeah. And if they get too beat up, whatever, I'll toss it out and get a new one. No, not a new one, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but again, I have my price points. I'm not going to spend over a certain amount on an old suitcase, and then otherwise it's too, then it's valuable. And I like to find old, broken dilapidated things and turn them into something that I can use as decor in my house. So definitely old vintage elements. And I use the word vintage, I use that loosely. But, you know, most things are like 40, 50 years old. So I guess that's technically vintage, right? Even if it's not priceless, even if it's not considered valuable by anybody but myself, which probably is the case. So the other thing that really inspires me is muted colors. And you probably have noticed that from a lot of my art and from a lot of the things that I've shown you, that I am really drawn to things that are muted. There is less contrast, I guess. Although, you know, there has to be some contrast in order to make things interesting. But I do like to keep things as neutral and as less contrasty as possible. So, and there's just certain colors we're drawn to, right? And there's nothing right or wrong about that. So what I'm just saying is I just want to show you and talk to you about things that bring you joy, that inspire you, and to embrace those things. And look at your environment, look at around your yard, look at your space differently, and bring those things to the forefront and push the things back that are not as life-giving. And I'm hoping to open your eyes to things that maybe you have overlooked or thought, well, nobody else thinks that's great. If you think it's great, it doesn't matter. If an old book, which I love, stacks of old books, brings you joy, who cares if no one else thinks that they're like, what is that? And I'm sure a lot of people think that about me. Like, why would she have that old stack of books? Love it. So embrace who you are, embrace the things you love, and let those things inspire you and let those things come out in a way that brings you joy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you're inspired and encouraged by this video. Thanks.